Hey you guys, welcome back to our channel, and this is the first video that I am filming in 2018, which is just insane. That's what it is. 2017 just completely flew by. I am here to give you guys a little bit of an update. We ended up taking Clomid, as you saw in our last update, that's kind of where we were. We were getting ready to take Clomid. So I am here to kind of give you my personal side effects, how I reacted to that medication, and yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and dive into it. So to take Clomid, you need to have a period. So I started with Provera, and I take that for 7 days. And usually about 3 days after I take my last pill, my period starts. And then 3 days after that, I started Clomid. So I took Clomid cycle day 3 through 7 as prescribed by my doctor, and we started with 50 milligrams. And Clomid is no joke. I personally kind of felt like I started having symptoms as soon as I took the first pill. Noticed right away, I don't know if it was anxiety from starting medication or what, but I just noticed right away that I was pretty irritable. And I had a few hot flashes, and that was pretty much it during the 3 through 7 days. I don't know if this is how everyone is, but the bulk of my symptoms were during my fertile week. So with Clomid, the hopes is that it will give you a 28-day cycle. So either you're going to ovulate around cycle day 14 and start your period around cycle day 28, or you're going to ovulate around cycle day 14 and have a positive pregnancy test around cycle day 28. The Ovia app, and when I noticed the most symptoms was during the green week, which is when you are theoretically fertile. Let me just tell you that the cramps on Clomid are real. My ovaries felt like blowfish. Like, they felt ginormous just in my pelvic area. I could just feel them, and they hurt. Usually my cramps are very central to my uterus, and on Clomid these cramps were very much on either side. So it made it kind of feel like my hips were hurting, but it was fine as soon as I put heat on it. But I'm working, so I couldn't just carry around a rice pack everywhere. I personally would say that my symptoms were a million times worse when I was supposed to be fertile. I had hot flashes probably 6 or 7 times a day. The cramping was terrible, and my personality was just weepy. My gosh, I am a very emotional person. I will cry. I'm a sympathetic crier, so if I see anything on TV, my friend is crying, anything, I cry. But holy, I cried a lot during Clomid. We would go to church and we would sing songs, and maybe I'd get a verse out and then just waterworks. My poor husband. But yeah, all I kept thinking was that this isn't that bad. Like, this is fine. Like, so long as it gets us pregnant, like, it's not really that big of a deal. My doctor is doing a very lightly monitored cycle, and she will the entire time with Clomid. It's kind of more of a hands-off approach. She's giving me the prescription, and she's testing my blood on cycle day 21, but we're not doing any ultrasounds. We're not doing any real monitoring. So I actually have no idea, like, when I take the medication, I have no idea if it works until cycle day 21. I went to our local lab to get blood work done, and I chugged water because I don't know if you remember in my last update I said that they had a hard time finding my vein, and I was for sure not going to have that happen again. So I drank so much water, almost peed my pants on my way to work, but she found my vein perfectly fine. I also had a different phlebotomist, so that probably helped too. So I went in on a Wednesday morning, first thing right before work, and it took until probably 11:30 that same Wednesday night for me to get the results. So I was just going insane waiting for these results. So to confirm ovulation, you need to have a progesterone level of 10 or higher And on 50 milligrams of Clomid, my progesterone level was... It was 0.9. My progesterone level was below 1 and it needed to be 10. I got less than 10% on this test, which was very discouraging. When I got diagnosed with PCOS, they did a blood draw and they test LH, FSH, progesterone, estrogen, and testosterone. At least that's what they tested for me. And my progesterone was pretty low. It was 0.5. So I knew going into Clomid that I had relatively low progesterone. So I was just really hoping that on 50 milligrams of Clomid, my progesterone would be up. My number was 4. I was hoping that it would go up to 4. That wouldn't be ovulating, but it would be proof that the medication was working. And I think that's what upset me the most. I was very upset when I found out. I cried and cried and cried because that's what you do on Clomid. But it was the fact that not only did it fail, but it really failed. Like my progesterone level didn't improve at all. And that was in addition to taking supplements that are supposed to help your progesterone levels. I've been taking zinc, magnesium, B12 or B6, and all those are supplements that are supposed to help elevate your progesterone levels. And along with Clomid and those, it just didn't happen. So discouraged, sad Katey woke up her husband from a dead sleep because it was 11:30 and he goes to bed at like 8:30. And we kind of were sad for a minute, and then I kind of came out into the living room and was sad on my own. I texted a few people, and the next morning I emailed kind of my personal prayer coordinator at church. She's the office lady, and she's just been kind of checking in on us. And I emailed her, and she kind of passed it along to the pastors that the medication this round didn't work, and our now lead pastor called me and asked if he could come over, and he came over, which was kind of funny because our dogs don't like strangers, and he's this big, he's kind of like Kyle, just big and bearded, but he came over and he anointed me with oil and prayed over our situation, and I just felt just kind of an instant calm and an instant kind of release of that anxiety. And we took a few weeks to kind of mourn the fact that the first round of Clomid didn't work, and there would never be a world that the first round of Clomid worked for us. So we took a couple weeks, and we are starting again. And yeah, I'm hopeful, but probably not as hopeful as I was going into our first round. I think that whenever you get a no or a closed door, you just kind of get a little bit of a guard up, so that way your heart doesn't hurt quite as much the next time. At least I know that's how I am. You kind of almost don't expect it to work, but you still hope and you pray and know that it is all part of God's plan. But it just still sucks. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to think that God's plan is not what you would have chosen. Because honestly, I think that most of the time when we go down a path and we're just like, what the heck? And God's like, you're going to learn. And it'll be great, and you're going to be so much stronger and a much better person. But when you're in the middle of that, and you're just, dang it. But yeah, so that's kind of where we are right now. We are getting ready to start our next round of Clomid, and we will have another quote-unquote fertile week that we are going to treat as a fertile week, and then we will go in on... I will go in on cycle day 21 and get another blood draw and check my progesterone levels. If I don't ovulate on this round, we will go up to 150. next time. And we'll probably do the same thing where we are sad for a couple weeks and just kind of get our bearings. It's a lot to have just medication after medication after medication. So I personally really just like, for my own mental health, to give myself a little bit of a break in between medications. Thank you guys so much for watching. Go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section below if you've been through something similar. Did you ovulate after not ovulating on 50? Did you ovulate on 100? Leave your success stories. Thumbs up this video if you enjoy these kind of TTC updates, and we will see you next time for our next video. Bye guys. So I am here to give you guys a little bit of an why can't I say it? I am here to give you guys a little bit of an update. Why are you the way you are? I personally would say that, yeah, my symptoms were a lot worse during my fertile week.